Hello, I'm Darlene Smith. I'm the administrator at Pinecrest Medical Care Facility in Powers. Well, I've been at Pinecrest for over 40 years. I started out, before I was married, as a CNA. And I really enjoyed that work, working directly with the residents there. And I always, when I was a child, played nurse, and I saw these LPNs passing out pills and doing treatments, so I thought, well, I could do that. So I went on to school, which was Bay when they were in the old college area. So I got my LPN there. And then I went and worked as an LPN till I had my two babies. And then the Bay College decided that they were going to be able to have an RN program, an associate RN program. So there was like 500 applicants, and out of that there were a big class. I think we had about 20 or so of us in that class. That was pretty big. And so we were in the first ADN class at Bay College. So I became an RN, and I worked quite a few years again at Pinecrest as RN supervisor. And that was really challenging. And then it came to be that they needed a director of nursing, so I applied. And during this time as a director of nursing, I went on to get my bachelor's degree. And that was brought down to Bay College through Northern, and we were in the first class. I was in a lot of first classes. And so we got through our bachelor's in nursing administration, and that was the first bachelor's class in nursing that was brought to Bay. And so we worked quite a while on that. And then Lake Superior State College worked with Bay College, and they decided to bring a master's degree in nursing administration down to Escanaba. So I enlisted in that, and quite a few of the folks that were in our first class enlisted in that. And so that was our first master's. Well, as director of nursing, you know, you do a lot of budgets, you work with a lot of money, you work with a lot of people and that kind of thing. And my sister, who was more into finances, and she worked at the hospital in Escanaba too, decided she was going to go on to get her MBA, Master's in Business, and that was through Lake State. So they brought all the classes down again to Escanaba, so she and I decided to go to that class, and or those classes. And we were pretty much the only girls in quite a few of those classes. And it was really interesting to be the females in those classes, because the other guys, they would just kind of go along with things, and it was always us that were asking the questions. But anyway, we finally did graduate with our Master's in Business. And then a few years ago, I had the opportunity to become the administrator at Pinecrest, and I have enjoyed all of my positions. I think in a typical day at Pinecrest, I think the best thing in my whole day is going out to see the residents. And a lot of times, a lot of us will go out and help feed residents or see how they're doing and that's the best part of the day. And so all of these, you can see that there's quite a career path that I've had, but opportunities are there, and I enjoy doing all of that. Even through when I was director of nursing and that, I was adjunct faculty for Lake State and for Bay, and so did a little bit of that in between too, but I always loved my Pinecrest. Like my grandma said when I was little, she said, I knew you were going to be a nurse because you're always folding paper to make a nurse hat and poking me with pins, so it must have been your destiny to be a nurse. And I never really questioned any of that. I mean, there were times that the work was really hard. I mean, it's always difficult. You know, you're working with sick people, you're working with families. You know, it's not like being in manufacturing where it's the same kind of job every day. Every day is just different, and it's a challenge, and I think that's what brings me back to it. And I can't ever say that I didn't want to go to work. I think you need to go to some of these places. I mean, like, I would welcome anybody to come out and visit Pinecrest and see what we have and what we can do. and different areas that we have to work. But I think you have to be motivated. You have to work pretty hard. And I did all of, from my LPN up to this point, with my education. I had a family and I had a supportive husband, and I know sometimes people aren't that lucky, but you do have to work hard and you've got to stay focused. And when I was doing projects in school, like for my bachelor's and my master's in that, I always kind of put them, directed them to what I could do to help Pinecrest. So that always helped, so I wasn't doing something that was abstract for me. It was something I believed in. Just the other day I had a couple of people say to me, actually they were people that I had worked with who had now become some of our residents. And they said, you always said you were going to be administrator of this place. So apparently I must have forecasted that, or people picked up on that from me. But I always enjoyed a challenge, and I'll tell you, each of these areas has been very challenging and rewarding. I really think to go on to school, we talk about, and I see this because I've taught LPNs and I've taught RNs. I think that having the CNA class is very, very important, that they have that basis to go on. And I think this climbing the ladder is something that is really good for you to develop your skills, and it's really good for the residents that you take care of because you know what's going on with them. It's not just somebody that's come out of school and all of a sudden, there's issues with direct care at the CNA level and you can't solve any of those issues for them because you don't even know what they're talking about. So being a CNA and an LPN and an RN, that has really worked well for me, and I see that it has worked well for many of our nurses that I do have. And we are really always trying to hire nurses who have been aides and LPNs and RNs. We encourage that stepping stone. Anytime that somebody has any questions about, is this right for me or not right for me, I would like to have them come and see me, and I will show them around. I've had a few of my friends' daughters who are now nurses and PAs who had come to be with me, and we made rounds and we got to let them do a little bit of care with me, and it kind of made up their minds what they wanted to be and if they really wanted this career path. And so anybody that thinks that they're interested, please come and see us. We would love to show you around and, get you through some of the areas where we work and it helps make up your mind.